When I was at the hospital, I called my dad, Mr. Rub Some Dirt on It. This is his upbringing. I don't blame him. He's a wonderful man. He's done so much for me. But I told him what was happening. Dad, I'm at the hospital. Where are you at the hospital? I've had the thoughts about hurting myself. At that point, I was still too even afraid to say I wanted to kill myself.
My name's Katerina Olson.
My name is Emily Metzig. My name is Shalise Spoor.
I'm Zach Cipriano. You know, I really ignored my mental health for a long time. I was raised in a household that was very much just rub some dirt on it, walk it off type of stuff. And I don't blame my parents or my dad for that. That was how they were raised, and they didn't know any better. So when I started exhibiting signs of depression, I just kind of walked it off.
Back in high school, I was always a really happy, upbeat kid, and my freshman or sophomore year of high school, I had an issue with a cross-country coach, and that cross-country coach was saying things like I was most likely person on the team to grow up and be a stripper at a tattoo parlor prior to getting butt implants. So that was the first thing that really made me feel down, is because am I really worth only that much?
So when I get into relationships, I have a habit of investing fully and completely, and I put 110% into the relationships that I'm in, which can be good to an extent and can also be very, very damaging to me when that relationship ends. And I had a couple of relationships that ended where, because of what was said during the breakup, I ended up feeling like I wasn't worth being loved.
I currently have a diagnosis of depression and PTSD, and depression is something I struggled with even as a small child. I didn't really know where these feelings of helplessness, hopelessness, and feelings of not being good enough come from.
That rattled in my brain for a few months as I was cutting, and I had a personal trainer I was working with at the time who saw my cuts on my arm when we were working out together, and he looked at me and all he said was, "Life is never that bad." At that point, I was contemplating suicide, just waiting for the right moment to actually do it. And it never seemed like the right moment, but I was waiting for it. So if he hadn't said that to me and it hadn't been sitting in my head and hadn't had me questioning, well, what can I do to make this better, I wouldn't have made a change.
And my dad walked in and he stopped me and he hugged me and he held me. And that's when I decided that I needed to get help. Finally, something that was said that just really stuck with me was, your value does not decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth.
I have had 3 experiences where it got to the point that I felt that everyone around me would be better off if I were dead, because I felt like a burden. Even when other people wanted to help me, I couldn't let them do that. There was something that stopped me. I think for me, the moment I realized that didn't have to be the only way out was imagining my family without me. I didn't want to hurt them.
It all came to a head like 3 weeks after my first kid was born. I can't really explain what happened exactly, but one day I went to work and the thought just came into my head, hey, you should kill yourself. And it really scared me, and I went into this closet to hyperventilate, and there was a box cutter. And I thought, that'll do it. And there was this rational part of me that was like, no, you don't want that. You have a wife, you
You have a brand new baby. You don't want that. There is something to live for. There is something. And then this voice came to me again. I was like, you're right. That's way too messy. You're at work. But hey, this building's 6 stories tall. I bet if you jumped off of it, that would do the trick. I did call crisis workers, and I did reach out to my friend after my plans to go up to the roof kind of got foiled. And he took me to the hospital.
If you had advice to give someone who was hurting right now, what would you tell them?
It's a tough one. Is when I was going through it, if someone said, there's light on the other side, I'd roll my eyes and I'd be like, whatever, you're saying that because you can see it and you're having a great life. But if I could like look back at myself and tell myself anything, it would be that you are worth it. The world needs you. And now that you've gone through this dark moment in your life and you've hit rock bottom, you can go up and you can share your story with others and help others. And the world needs you now more than ever.
Honestly, just breathe and try to think about anything but the situation you're in right now. Because if you're trying to think about it right now, you're just gonna focus on all of the reasons why you should be gone. But if you think about it later, it'll be a lot easier to see all of the reasons why you should stay.
It's not abnormal, first of all. I think that the pain doesn't make you crazy per se. There's usually something causing it, and it's not you. And you're not alone.
If you're having these issues, you gotta talk to people about it. I tried to bottle it up for so long inside because people come to me. I'm the guy, I'm the fixer. When I was at the hospital, I called my dad, Mr. Rub Some Dirt on It, to tell him where I was. And he, again, this is his upbringing. I don't blame him. He's a wonderful man. He's done so much for me. But I told him what was happening. Dad, I'm at the hospital. Where are you at the hospital? I have had the thoughts about hurting myself. At that point, I was still too even afraid to say I wanted to kill myself. And he was just kind of quiet. And then I could tell he was a little choked up. And then he said, son, I'm so proud of you for getting help. And he's not really told me he's proud of me at a lot of things. Which again, I don't fault him for, but there's no shame in getting help. There shouldn't be a stigma about it because you're not crazy if you feel that way. You're not alone if you feel that way. You're amazing. And it's totally okay to get the help that you need. You are good enough.